Hi, Dave here, and we have a new art review, and this time we are going to explore the work of Joon Ahn. Now, Joon Ahn is a former concept and background artist at Disney, a former senior concept artist at Riot Games, and is a current freelancer and instructor at Brainstorm School. Now, Brainstorm School, I believe, is a school that's founded by John Park and James Pack. Both of them are prominent concept artists, and I will be doing a review of their work as well in the future. So Joon Ahn is based in Los Angeles and is originally from Korea. Now, I did watch briefly a kind of interview of Joon Ahn with it's kind of a popular concept art channel, but Joon Ahn had this interview and he did talk about how his, if you want to see the full interview or that interview, you can check out the links in the description in YouTube, which I will provide. And if you want to know about his backstory and stuff, I think it's kind of a long interview, but if you're interested, you could check it out. So for some general notes, in terms of his portfolio, the major theme that I see is he does a lot of fantasy, magical kinds of work, and here and there some sci-fi stuff. Now, I'm not sure if that's because of his job, or that's the projects that he happens to be involved in, or maybe it's just his inclination where he does, maybe he's a Lord of the Rings kind of person, I don't know. But I did notice that in his work, it's very fantasy driven and magical. Subject wise, he does a lot of environments and a few characters here and there. Although most of his work, I think, focuses more on environmental concepts. In terms of his style, aesthetics, he does have that textured, gritty look, which I do want to add to my work because I am trying to find my own artistic voice, and I think, to me, whenever I see that kind of gritty texture, it sort of acts like teeth, where it can kind of capture you in that way. I don't know, because if a piece is too smooth, even though it's well rendered, but it's too smooth, it doesn't have that same grasp or hook, right? So I think that's something I want to apply in my own work. His work is also very saturated. Not very, but it is a little more saturated than normal, I would say. And compared to my last review of Mikhail Borulko, the Russian concept artist, Joon Ahn's hues or saturation is way more up. Shit. Now, Mikhail Borulko does have diverse hues as well. Shit, what am I trying to say? Shit. Look, Mikhail Borulko and Joon Ahn both have diverse hues in their work. The only difference is that Mikhail Borulko's work is not as saturated compared to Joon Ahn's work, where his work is a little more saturated and more kind of Avatar like, very a little more brighter and more exciting. I'm not saying that Mikhail Borulko's work is not exciting, but it's just more, I think it's because of the theme as well. I mean, it doesn't make sense if your fantasy is super dark. It can be dark, but I don't know, it just doesn't work for the most part. I think it's very fitting for fantasy work to be a little more upbeat in most areas. So yeah, that is the kind of general and stylistic notes that I have observed in Joon Ahn's work. Process wise, in terms of his process, I do have a a step-by-step process that he shared in his ArtStation. But if you want to see his actual process, you could check out his Gumroad, which I will provide in the link below on YouTube. But for now, I'm going to try and get the kind of aesthetics of Joon Ahn and try to kind of reverse engineer that in my own way. But so that's what I'm going to do. If you want to actually see his real process, check out his Gumroad and buy his tutorial, because he has a few tutorials. But I will be sharing a part of his process, because he did share like one piece. It's about Gandhi. He did a Gandhi study, so yeah, we can see a kind of step-by-step process of his work. So it's kind of a glimpse of his process. So we can move now to his portfolio work. So I'm going to start with his process. It's very short. Shit. So this is what he shared. A basic initial sketch, right? And then he did a further refinement of his sketch. As you can see here, he did show he probably has some knowledge in anatomy. A little more. He is a professional, I'll say that, and you can tell by the way he draws and paints. But so yeah, he did a bit of a refinement after his initial sketch, and then he did a grayscale painting underneath that sketch. And then from there, he started painting over that line, probably, I'm guessing. And fuck. So yeah, pretty cool. And you can tell, in terms of it there's just something about the diversity of his technique which is very intriguing. For example, the way you can even see some of his paint strokes, some texture brushes, and here you can see that kind of gritty feel and texture, which I really do admire. Maybe it's because it reminds me of natural paintings where some of the canvas texture does show through, so maybe that's kind of why I like it. But I think anyone would like this. So yeah. So after doing the grayscale beneath and then doing some painting over it with some color, he went further and refined it even more. Look at the feet. That is some serious skill. Even the hands. I think I saw this guy's hand. Where is? Oh, it's right here. Sorry, went past. The knuckles, right? The fingers, the nails, the thumb, the folds of the skin. I'm not sure how long this study took to do, but I'm pretty sure it's probably more than an hour. But yeah, so that's his kind of glimpse of his process. Now I suggest going to his Gumroad and buying his tutorial. But yeah, so he does have some more cleaner work, because he does have a variety of work in that. The work that I find most fascinating is the more impressionistic stuff, where I can see a lot of his strokes and stuff. But he does have cleaner works. For example, he does have this piece. It's a sci-fi, I think, piece. Kind of a sci-fi. Not really. It's more real world with kind of a pushed or a little bit of futuristic stuff. maybe some kind of secret base or something. I don't know. And now this one's more sci-fi, but his work is generally clean, or he has some work that is cleaner in that regard, but he does still show some of his common traits in his work, that being the textured gritty stuff, gritty kind of rough texture. And I don't know, just it hooks me in, I'll say that. Now this one doesn't have a lot of texture. This one is pretty clean, and I don't think it normally does this kind of work, or at least I personally don't find it the most attractive of his work. I mean, it is a pretty piece, very well rendered, but I'll show you later what really attracts me in his kind of portfolio range. So here, it's a character piece, a little more cleaner. Shit. Now even this it does have some texture, but I consider it part of his more clean work, because the shapes are a little more fixed to me. This is definitely more cleaner. Now I'm not sure if he uses some kind of 3D base in the background. Probably not. But yeah, this is something. No, this is probably a project-based thing, and he probably had to change his style, I think. I'm not sure. But in terms of hues, he doesn't have a lot of diverse hues here compared to his other work. But it's very concept art, esque. It's a professional piece, I'll say that. So here are some of his character designs, probably in the same world as this guy. So yeah, very clean for me. It's cleaner. This is his dragon piece here. Now it's not fully rendered because you can actually see some of his sketches beneath. So it's a nice concept, a nice actual concept piece. No shit, man. And this is a kind of a character design of that guy. Again, super clean. Now in terms of hues, again, not very diverse. But so yeah, he does have a lot more cleaner work in that regard. Now to his more gritty stuff. Now this doesn't have a lot of diverse hues, but it does have that kind of textured feel. If you focus on the edges of his work, or in any kind of silhouette of his piece, there is that kind of textured edge, or kind of a chipped edge, and I think it does give homage. Am I saying that right? It feels natural to me, and it's very captivating for me. If a piece is too smooth, it looks very digital and very kind of plastic. You know what I mean? So I think making your edges look a little more broken up adds a little more naturalness to it, or makes it look a little more human. Same concept. It's a kind of a car piece, futuristic race car. And again, if you focus on its edges, it's very broken up, and it actually looks like a natural painting, like a traditional painting, which I guess intrigues me as well. So here is another racing piece, and again, it's very gritty the way the edges are painted. And Now the flooring does have a variety of hues, which I like a little bit more than his past kind of dragon stuff. But yeah, very textured, or not textured, gritty, very natural looking. Now this I think is one of his fan art stuff. Very cool Game of Thrones fan art. Now I'm not sure if this is an actual frame of the series, but I mean, the way he painted the wings, you can see some of that texture, and he probably used some photos. I wouldn't be surprised if he used some photos here and there. But if you look at the face, the head of the dragon, that kind of gritty stuff is something that I want to apply in my own work. And I think it also helps with the contrast. You know, if you can make your background kind of smooth and then create or add this kind of gritty texture to your focal point, I think it helps with the contrast element. So yeah, awesome fire, well painted. It reminds me of Mikhail Baruko, the way he paints fires as well. Very cool. And it does look like an oil painting in a way, right? So I think it does give that natural look. So the gritty and rough kind of texture does give that natural look, which I want to apply in my own work. Alright, so next piece. Now this is a little more, you can see some of that kind of broken up texture in his edges. So here you can see some of that kind of noise texture, and I like the way he shows his paint strokes. It reminds me of John Park's work as well, where he does show that more. I mean, he could do a lot of photo bashing stuff, which is really cool. But if you check out John Park's portfolio, he does a lot of his portfolio work is more painterly, and yeah, it's kind of similar to Joon Ahn's work. So here it's Faker solves everything. I'm not sure what that means, but again, it's very impressionistic. I like the way he shows the strokes, and honestly, for me, I'm more into this kind of thing where I show the strokes. I'm not really fascinated by I mean, I am fascinated by very refined, detailed work, but my personal preference is something a little more impressionistic. Say, Ahmed Al-Duri's work is generally very impressionistic, and I find very appealing to me, style-wise. So here you can see again that brushwork, very painterly, and that gritty texture. So he probably used a custom brush for that kind of maybe some noise brush and some kind of photo, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm not sure what this thing is. Very odd. So here is another piece. Now he doesn't have a lot of hue variation here, but I do like that I can see a lot of his strokes. It looks very, I mean, even the background, you don't even have to look at this kind of elf guy with the wolves. You can just focus in on the background and you can see that impressionistic style. And whenever I see kind of impressionistic work, to me it shows confidence somehow. I don't know. Yeah, it's very cool. And if you focus in on this guy's skin, it's kind of rendered, not super refined, but it's there. You can definitely tell the forms. Good grasp of value variation values. He does have a range of values involved, but yeah. So here is a character piece. Again, you can see some of that grittiness in his hair. The silhouette of the hair is super simple, but well done. And even the armor, he does have that that texture. It's very attractive. Hi. And here probably use some kind of custom brush for the chainmail. And the way he rendered the armor, super simple, but yeah, well done. Very reflective. I can actually feel that she is wearing armor. The cape is odd though, very short. But yeah, and again, if you focus in on the edges, it does have that broken feel, which you can see in a lot of say watercolor paintings where you can actually see the texture of the paper. So yeah, it's maybe it's some kind of noise brush, I'm not sure. You can even see it here. And I think it's a great way of breaking up your edges. Instead of it being a super clean cut thing, you can use a kind of texture brush to kind of soften that up without having to use a soft brush, you know. So yeah, awesome. Now this is a sci-fi piece, and I think he should do a lot more of this stuff because, I mean, it's well done, awesome, and again, awesome chick. And he did use some soft brushes for the face because the face is kind of soft here, being a girl and all. He used a photo in the background, obviously, and he also took he made some changes, made it more futuristic. A simple silhouette, and then he just added that kind of a lighting texture from the photo and made it look like a city, and that's enough. And if you focus in on the sky, again, that gritty kind of texture is very... It just kind of pokes you in the eye 1,000 times. But in a very subtle way. You know, it's very, you know, there's some kind of friction, you know, it just attracts you in some way. Or attracts me, you know. This kind of futuristic bike, well done. Photo bashed here, and the hand is well painted. It's just enough, very painterly, and I like that he does show his strokes and is not focused on, you know, trying to render the whole thing in a more refined level. You know, I think this is a good enough piece. He should probably sell this as a kind of print. You know, I think he would make good money. So yeah, awesome piece. So now for the work that really, for his work that really kind of, you know, impresses me and just makes me want to make concept art, is his more saturated and more diverse in terms of view work. And he also, I think this is his style, maybe. I don't know. I think he has all sorts of techniques and methods, but I think what really stands out to me in his work is his more saturated and hue diversity kind of work. So here, there is some hue diversity here, a little bit, and again, along with that gritty kind of texture. Looks so well done. And again, I like the way he painted the folds. It reminds me again of the last artist that I reviewed, Mikhail Barulko. They're really good with folds and drapery stuff. Again, looks very painterly, gritty, painterly. A little more saturated here. And you can definitely see the kind of color changes. You can see some reds or oranges here, some yellows, and then here just like a combination of blues and stuff, maybe some greens. And here I like that he made this kind of a fade out effect where, you know, it's green here. Oh, it's gonna be complementary color. It's purple and green. Whoa. Nice. Awesome. And it looks very kind of like an oil painting to me. So here you can actually see a little more texture in his paint strokes. Not as defined, but there's definitely some kind of a excuse me, a little hue variation. You can see some of that paint underneath, some reds or pinks below. Although it's mostly blue, the shadows are blue. So here you can definitely see a combination of his kinds of techniques. I'm not sure if he used some 3D stuff here. This may just be a photo. Probably, I'm not sure. So you can see some of his texture work here. That kind of gritty look. This part may be a photo beneath or something. The impressionistic stuff he did with the plants and trees. And here you can see it's kind of a... He does this thing where he turns on color dynamics in Photoshop for his brushes, and it does give this kind of effect. And I've seen it in a couple of his work, especially concerning work that's more saturated and more with a lot more hues. He does use this thing with the color dynamics. Even here you can see it with the swords. He does use it here. And here's some painterly gritty stuff. And now I'm not sure if he painted this. Could be a 3D, maybe like a 3D base. But yeah, it does have that gritty look to it. Awesome. Now here's a character piece. Is there hue diversity here? A little bit. There are some greens, there's a pink here, some yellow. It's well done. And it's not super rendered, super refined, but to me, this is the type of work that I want to do, or I probably would stop rendering at this point, because again, I'm not really into the whole, like refined kind of painting. To me, this is enough, and it's very pretty. So now here, I can definitely feel that kind of opaqueness, kind of like an actual oil painting. And you can see a lot of his painterly strokes, some of his gritty texture, some color dynamic stuff with the brushes. He doesn't have a lot of noise in this one, but definitely a lot more texture. And again, very impressionistic. It's not very detailed, which I like personally in terms of style. Yeah. Alright. This is one of his most, I think, popular pieces. There's just something about this whole range of hues that is very magical to me. And you can see he did use that color dynamics thing again, but I'm not sure how to explain how he varied this piece with all sorts of hues. I mean, again, you should probably buy his Gumroad tutorials and stuff. But this is what impresses me in his work, the way there is this kind of range of values. He even used color dynamics in his kind of dinosaur thing. And it's a circle brush. Ugh. Okay. Now here, it's more painterly. Not very, yeah, it's more painterly than the previous piece that we viewed. But I guess there is some kind of changes in terms of hues. So there is diversity in that regard. Now here is a kind of, it's more simple. But if you focus in on the rocks, there is some kind of texture. It could be a photo of something, and then he just blurred it, maybe. But I think if you add diversity in your hues, it makes your piece not look as flat, which I've noticed it does happen in my work, where my work does look a little flat. So yeah. And again, he did show his brush strokes, which is very nice. Now here it's a little more painterly and stuff. The clouds, everything really, but very impressionistic. Some gritty texture here and there. So it does have some changes in terms of hues, but I think it's not as much. But it's still awesome, very fantasy stuff. Oh, again, this is one of it's super simple to me, but even this, it's kind of a simple silhouette, but the colors, I think, is something that I want to apply in my own work. It reminds me also of this Spanish artist, a girl, a chick. A lot of her work involves a lot of hues, and she also does a lot of traditional pastel work, which I don't know, it just reminds me of her work. And yeah, I'm not sure how he picks the colors. It could also be a color dynamics thing, because if we go to the say it's if you go to color dynamics, you can there's this option, apply per tip, and if it's a per tip thing, it can end up like this, where it kind of changes within the stroke. But if it's not per tip, the hue changes per stroke. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. Back to the shit. So there's that. Next piece. Again, same thing here. Super cool. So these are kind of crabs and stuff. And again, a lot of diversity in terms of hues. Diversity. Color dynamics again. Square brush, rectangular brush. Even if the shapes are kind of simple, triangle brush with some color dynamics here. Even if the shapes are simple, it still looks very, I don't know, full. Like there's more of the painting, right? And he does have some gritty texture here and there. And to me, it just looks more complete. Even if it's not super refined, even if it's impressionistic, to me, it feels complete. And yeah. Next piece. Now this does have a lot of hue diversity. You've got some greens here, some kind of purple, light purple stuff, some reds, blues. And I want to be able to utilize a lot of the hues in my own paintings, because I think it also makes your painting less boring, right? Yeah, and he does use a lot of simple brushes here and there, and here it's just very well impressionistic and yeah, and painterly. So here it's a little more gritty. You can tell there is a lot more texture involved. The edges aren't as clean. And this actually kind of looks flat to me, but it's still cool, very cool. Now this is quite the candy, the eye candy. Here you can see a lot of his texture, gritty work, some painterly strokes, some of his triangle brushes here too, some color dynamics, and it does have a variety of hues. And again, even though it's not as fully rendered, it is more, I don't know, it's playful, it's very entertaining to the eye, it's something you could hang in your wall, Now for this piece, it does have an actual Gumroad tutorial of this piece, so if you want to see his actual methodology, I suggest you buy his tutorial and support him. And if you focus in on the variety of his hues, oh, look at that. Very impressionistic, but it's a lot of everything combined into this magical piece. Excuse me. So yeah, awesome. Now this is, I think, also one of his more popular pieces. There is a lot of hue variation here. I like how he just kept the characters, the background simple, because that's really all you need at that point. But yeah, I like how, again, his rendering is not as refined. Here, very simple rendering style, almost flat like in nature, doesn't have a lot of texture. And maybe, oh yeah, it's because of the actual subject it's kind of a metal thing, so it probably wouldn't make sense to have too much texture for this piece. But yeah, and it also gives me hope, because even if the rendering is not as refined, it still looks amazing, and it's enough. If you zoom out, it's enough to kind of get the idea out. And even this background, I think it's a kind of tree. He simplified it. Well done. Awesome. Oh my god. Now this is awesome. A lot of hues here. A lot of painterly stuff in the background. Now the silhouette of this building and the trees is kept simple, contained, but there's a lot of texture and hue involved here, and it just looks more, again, it looks more full, a lot more beautiful. Yeah, shit, I am very impressed. Oh, the grass stuff, the bushes are painterly in that regard. So yeah, and again, there is some grittiness in some of his edges as per usual. So yeah, this is what I want my work to have as well. This kind of a texture, or not texture, but variety. I want to have more variety, diversity. So here there is it's not really diverse in terms of hues. I would say it's kind of in the same category, blues and purples, and maybe some yellow here. But I do like that I can see a lot of his brush strokes, and this gives that impressionistic kind of natural feel to that to this piece. Now here there is a lot of diversity in this kind of crystal structure, but everything else is kept simple. And there is some texture in the sky a little bit here and there. Now here, this actually does look like an actual oil painting, and I was actually fooled before, and I thought this was an actual oil painting, but it's not, by the way. And I think it's because, again, the way, first of all, his brush is kind of a rake brush in a way, and he does like to show a lot of his strokes, and he does show, or he makes sure that there's some kind of gritty stuff in some of his edges, which does give that natural feel. And of course, he has a variety of hues involved, which is very yeah, so maybe it's because of the flowers, I don't know. Yeah, he does use a lot of hues here. You can even see some of the reflections of the flowers on the sheep skin and on the sheep fluff. I'm not sure what fuck, the coating, the fluff, the sheep fluff, and even her kind of dress. Yeah. Okay. Now again, this is the type of work that really kind of speaks out to me. Whoa, it speaks out to me. You can see a lot of diverse stuff here. This could actually be a photo, I believe. And then some of his usual paint strokes with some gritty edges. Yeah, and again, diverse hues. Fuck. Awesome. You can definitely tell the gritty stuff here and there with his custom brush, probably. And maybe he overlaid some kind of photo, maybe. And I did like the way he made this the focal point. You can definitely tell in terms of contrast, this is where he wants you to look, and then maybe here on second glance. Shit. So here it's a little more painterly, with some hue variation. Awesome. And even, okay, this is also one of his most popular pieces. Very magical, very impressionistic. But if you look at this shit, is it mast? I think it's called a mast. Oh, fuck. I think it's called a mast. I don't know. Skin? Clothing skin for ship, boat. Oh, fuck. The characters are kept simple, but I mean, look at this. There is a lot of colors here, and it does look magical to me. It reminds me of John Singer Sargent's work, his watercolor stuff, very, very awesome. So yeah, I want some of this in my work. Okay, now again, this is one of his most popular I keep saying that, maybe he is a popular artist. So, it's kind of a redundant way of saying, Anyway, again, very painterly, a lot of hues involved. And I mean, she looks elegant as fuck. That hand is kept simple, but I mean, come on. Wouldn't you want to hold her hand, just like, hi babe, hi, you're pretty. And some skulls, just cause. And I want this in my work. So this is the last piece that we're going to review, or that we have of this art review of his work. So yeah, fuck. What else is there to say? Joon Ahn is a god. So I definitely want to apply that textured, gritty kind of feel in my own work, that textured kind of rough feel in my own work, and I also want the diversity of hues in my work. So that is what we are going to try and explore, or what I am going to try and explore, and see if I can apply it or add it in my own developing style. So for the next art notes video, I may do something concerning color. What are some techniques to get, I am going to try and research some techniques on how to get that kind of diversity of hues. So yeah, I will do some research on that, and then for the video following the art notes on color, I will do an art demo where I can apply the textured, gritty edges with the variety of hues. So yep, this is the art review of Joon Ahn. If you would like to see more of his work, more of his videos and stuff, and any links concerning Joon Ahn, you could just check out the link in the description on YouTube. So yeah, thank you for watching, and happy painting. You know what? That's not my line. I think that's Adam Duff's line. I need like some kind of ending thing. Keep painting. Ew. I don't know. See you in the next video. Bye. I'll see you. Fuck. I need something. Stay safe. Ew. I don't want to be that dude. Stay safe. Fuck. Keep at it. Get after it is Joko Willing's. I think his name is Joko Willing's tagline. Get after it. Alright, I'll see you next time. I'll just say that. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening, and if you are a fan, or if you like this kinds of videos, these art reviews, please stay for the or please subscribe, because I will be doing more of these reviews as I develop my own style forever. So yeah, if you do want to see the full video versions of the art notes plus the art demos, I do have a Gumroad link, which I would appreciate if you could subscribe there as well and become a member, so you can help support me as an artist. And but yeah, if you just want the reviews, which I will be posting on YouTube for free, it is a, I think I'm not really offering as much in the art reviews, and yeah, so I'll see you next time. Bye.